How about it, y'all? This is Nicholson Farms, and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about how we feed hay and how we've done it in the past and some changes that we plan on trying to do this year. But first I'm going to let these goats out into the yard, let them eat some acorns so they're not so loud and we can actually talk. In the afternoons, I've been letting the goats out to just kind of eat some acorns. We're right here on the border of our neighbor's woods. Kind of let them clean up some of this Japanese privet as well. Just kind of let them roam around for about 30-45 minutes while I'm feeding other things. A little healthier for them, get outside of the pasture and take care of some of these free acorns. So I've got a couple bales of hay on the truck here with me. We're going to be talking about why we're using square bales this year versus round bales. We're going to be talking about how we're distributing in the pasture and supplementing these animals. We've had a couple hard frost here in South Carolina, or Newberry, South Carolina, over the past 2-3 weeks. So everything's gone dormant other than our fescue. We really don't have any green on the pasture right now. Looking back at it, some ryegrass will come up. Typically in the past couple years, I've spread oats on our pastures. Trying to get some winter forage, and in the spring that stuff really jumps before anything else does. But I got behind the 8 ball this year on doing that. I'm gonna try to get it done this weekend, but hopefully we get some rain on it and it'll start growing. It's not too late, but we're gonna try it anyways. We got several bags of oats to use. But other than that, hay is gonna be our #1 feed for the winter. These girls, they've just been through a month with the billies. So they're not getting fed grain anymore. They're not going to get fed grain until about a month and a half before they start having kids, where I try to bump their nutrition up a good bit more in that last period of their trimester. So right now we're just going to let them eat acorns in the yard, and they're going to be on pasture eating hay. So in the past probably 5-6 years, we've always used round bales. My granddad had somebody that had a round baler, so he got him to bale the hay. This year, you saw back in the summer, we were baling our own hay this year in square bales. So that's the way we're gonna go, and it kind of works out better, and I'll explain why here in just a second. I'm gonna get one of these bales out here in the goat pasture, and I'm gonna show you what we're doing with it this year. So in the past, with feeding round bales, we've never had any kind of bale feeders or anything like that. We've always just set the bale on the ground in the pasture, let the horses or the goats go to it. With doing that, you run into the problems with a lot of waste gets put on the ground, gets stomped in, just gets a nasty mess. Most of the hay gets wasted, especially with the goats, because they'll get on top and pee and poop or whatever, bed down in it, and they don't want to eat it anymore. So I always used different places that wasn't good grass when I did that. I always set them underneath a tree or something like that, and try to limit the spots that was getting torn up by foot traffic, or just having a big clump of bale there. And I'd also just kind of burn it off after they were done with it, just kind of get it out of the way. But with doing that, you're wasting a lot of nutrition, a lot of hay. And I wanted to be able to utilize that a little more this year. And so this is what led us to doing what we're doing right now. I'm gonna flip the camera around and kind of show you and explain to you why we're trying to do this. So there's several reasons why we're going to be spreading these cubes out on our pasture this year. The first of which is hay consumption. We don't want to be losing all this hay that we spent time baling, money hauling, and time putting it out on the pasture. If you put a bale of hay into a hay feeder or in one location every day, those goats or horses or cows or whatever is going to go up there, they're going to take a nibble, they're going to be dropping it on the ground right there in that location, and they're going to waste a lot of it. And goats are very bad about a round bale or even a square bale if you just set it out in the pasture, about jumping on top of it, pooping, peeing, laying on it, trying to make it a bed, and that's not what it's there for. It's there for them to consume and take in the nutrition for them to grow and thrive. So we want to kind of limit that by putting this hay in a different location every day. We're forcing them to clean up that little bit. It's not going to be there but for one day, so whatever they don't clean up, if they lay and poop on it, that's fine. They're not going back to eat it because the hay is going to be in a whole different location the next day. The second reason is whenever animals are foraging in your pasture, they're constantly consuming nutrition through the form of their forage, and it's going through their digestive system. The manure's coming out, and that's putting nutrients back into your soil. Whenever you cut hay off of a hayfield, you're taking all that nutrition and you're feeding it to the goats or livestock in the form of hay, but they're going to consume that nutrition and it's going to return back to your pastures through their manure. So you're basically getting free nutrition from that hayfield. That's why you fertilize your hayfields and everything, because you're taking so much off. But all that stuff that doesn't get used, which I'll show you here in a minute where they got fed yesterday and how much they left behind, but all that is getting left in the form of hay just sitting on top of your soil, kind of like a litter. All this is going to be going back into the soil as the rain hits this, as the animals walk across it. It's going to get back incorporated back into your soil, and that's going to be free nutrition that you're putting on your pasture. And that's really a main reason that we're trying to do this. I'm taking these bales of hay and I'm putting them in pretty, not bad, but the roughest spots of our pasture, and trying to put that extra nutrition there, trying to help those pockets of the pasture that's not growing real well start performing more. Let me see if I can find the other reason. So another reason is that right there. Whenever you bring hay in, you're bringing all these seeds that the goats might drop, not consume. They're spreading it out throughout your pasture by trampling that into the ground. It's getting soil contact, and next spring we're going to have more forage, and hopefully by putting it on these bad spots, we're going to start growing some decent grass that the goats and the horses and the cows can consume and turn it into red meat. Another reason, and pretty much another big reason, is the cost of hay feeders. We rotate our animals quite a bit. We're moving them every week. We're moving them to a different spot, and if I was going to go out to buy 6-7 hay feeders for each of our pastures, that's going to cost a lot of money. It costs a lot of money to build them, and it'd take a lot of time to move them things around all the time if I just have one. So that's another reason. And the last reason probably is back to our worm control. Putting our hay in one location, those animals are going there, they're pooping, they're peeing, they're laying, and then they're eating all in the same spot. It's just not a good combination for us, animal health. So by spreading this out throughout the whole pasture, the week they're going to be in this pasture, they're going to be able to consume hay here, then they might be way over there eating hay, and they're not laying, pooping, eating, and all that stuff in one location. So that's the main reason. I'm gonna take the camera around. I'm gonna show you where I put hay last year in form of round bale, and just show you how ugly it looks. One reason we don't want to do that. If we did go back to round bales, I would try to roll sections of round bales out, and then I'll take you to some spots that we put hay out the past couple days and show you how they cleaned it up. This is the spot that we picked today to put this hay out. You can see it's just real short grass, not much to it. Most of this is actually centipede on this little hill that it's on. It's kind of a shady spot because of these oak trees, but this is kind of an area that we're going to target. I'm going to show you a spot here in a second that's a little more. But this is going to be today's spot. This right here was yesterday's, where I put the hay. As you can see, they ate the majority of it. There's still some left. But what you're not going to see a lot of in the middle of these little stacks is manure. You see manure right here, you see all the way around, but there's not really much on there. There's a little bit right there, but that's because they've ate most of it. They're not trying to bed down on it, lay down on it, and pee on it. And this is a spot that's pretty poor. I mean, it's maybe an inch of grass right here. Compared to over there, we've got some winter forage, not much, but some. This is the pasture that Brisket hanged out in, so he ate a lot of it. But by putting this hay there, putting this seed here, it should increase the production of this little spot. And also, we're going to be moving. Let's go to a spot where they are fed hay about, I think 3 days ago. And over here, I mean, there was a spot, but you can hardly see it. They've kind of cleaned it up pretty good. There's a little spot they didn't hit as hard, but all this is gonna kind of turn into a mulch, protect that soil, and kind of drop some seed in this spot that'll hopefully help it out. I'll go show you a spot where we're gonna try to hit tomorrow with the hay. So throughout here is where the hay is gonna go for the next couple days. You can see there's not much there. You look right there, there's some. Look right there, there's some grass, but not right here. So we're gonna try to build this up with some hay, put some nutrients in the soil right here, and hopefully we can see it pay off come next summer. So right here is a spot that I fed round bales last year, and we did it several places throughout our pastures, but basically places that are shaded out that's not really growing well. Under that cedar tree over there is another spot we fed a lot of hay to. But basically I didn't want to set this round bale of hay in the middle of our field, kill all our grass from the animals trampling, plugging it up with their feet, and just leaving a mound of wasted hay out there. I didn't want to do that in the middle of pasture, so we did it underneath our trees. And as you can see, this has been here for over a year now, or right at a year. And I came through and tried to burn most of it out, but there's still a lot buried down in there that's just rotting. It's decomposing. I mean, it's turning into some nutrients, but it's just an eyesore to me. It holds a lot of moisture. It's a good area for, you know, worms and any kind of bacteria or anything like that to grow. So I just prefer to get away from this. Honestly, I don't know if we'll go back to round bales. If I do, like I said earlier, I'll be rolling them out on the pasture in little sections every day. Try to kind of accomplish the same thing we're doing with the square bales. That's what we're trying to do for feeding hay this year. That's how we're going to do it. We're going to try it for a good solid year, maybe 2 years, to see if it actually starts paying off. Like I said, it's several different factors that's going into this decision why we're deciding to do this. But the main one is really not waste hay and try to get some nutritional value out of this hay, out of this wasted hay that's left behind. Let's try to get better soil, which will turn into better pastures, which will turn into better animals, which will hopefully turn into a better profit. But that's what we're doing this year. I hope you enjoy the video. I know it's probably kind of short, but we really appreciate y'all hanging out with us. I hope this helps you out. Hope this gives you some ideas of different ways of doing things. I know I've really kind of changed my mindset over the past year or so about really trying to enhance soil quality and pasture quality, and hopefully in return, like I said, it turns into better quality animals. But like I said, I really appreciate y'all hanging out with us. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I know we're going to be doing a t-shirt giveaway coming up at our 1,000 subscriber mark. We're at like 650-ish, somewhere right in there right now. So we're not that far away. So if you've been watching and you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, just go ahead and hit that for us. Leave us a comment, and we'll see y'all on the next one. So just a little extra for the video, I just put them all up, but you can see them all eating here and not really eating over there where that hay was just yesterday. So they're pretty much done with that. That's all tainted up. As far as their smell, they're onto this newer stuff. They should clean most of it up tonight, and they'll get a fresh bale over yonder there tomorrow. We'll see y'all on the next one.